What is going on to you, Capricorns? You have the Six of Cups, the Page of Cups, and then you Capricorns have the Nine of Cups. So obviously, someone is going to reach out to you again. The Page of Cups and the Nine of Cups speaks to, but this person is very delusional about where you and this person romantically stand. It doesn't necessarily always have to be romance, but I find that the majority of times when the Six of Cups pops up, it usually is romance. Could be an ex, could be somebody that you could have had been in a relationship with. It could have worked out, but maybe this person showed you how dysfunctional they were. Maybe it never came into fruition because you had things to do, they had things to do. And so why that's so important even in the first place is because of the fact that you Capricorns, basically, for whatever reason, the two of y'all essentially decided not to interact with one another, right? That's the reason why you Capricorns are not speaking to them all now. That's why they got to come back. And the Page of Cups and the Nine of Cups speaks to how, like I said, they may not really be paying attention to the status of where the two of you are. You may not even want anything to do with them, but they may not actually understand that. And what I mean by that is the fact that you Capricorns don't call them, don't text them, don't reach out to them. So the thing about it is that the King of Swords speaks to how there's a sense of you Capricorns having to just, if they come back and you're not really into them, just say that you're not into them and get it over with. Because I find that when you do that, you actually get the result of what it is that you want, right? And if they ask you, what do you mean? Don't get upset. Just tell them how it is that they've been moving, Tell them how they've been moving. Let them know what it is that you're concerned by. And just let them know, hey, the way that they moving is funny. The way that they moving is real funny style. It's funny. It's too inconsistent and it's untrustworthy. And because what that will do is a lot of dysfunctional people like to have other people catch them with their hands in the cookie jar. So if your hand is in the cookie jar, right, they like to be caught that way. Because even when you say, hey, listen, I don't necessarily want to talk to you like that, they'll still, because they're intellectually dishonest, they'll be like, oh, I don't understand what it is that you're doing. I don't understand what you're talking about. Then when you bring it up to them, this is where you will get people will get real silent because they know, like, they've been moving dysfunctionally. And the thing is that why does I say bring it up to them respectfully, especially in this situation, is because not only will they know what's going on, but they didn't actually really expect you Capricorns to really bring it up to them. Dysfunctional people don't ever expect you to actually come to them and tell them what it is to their face. They're able to throw rocks and hide their hands because they dance in the darkness. And when I say that, I'm not even going to say the darkness per se. I'm going to say the light. They dance in the light. And what I mean when I say dancing in the light, I'm talking about it from a perspective of they like to be very disrespectful, undermining, right? While at the same time, they're hiding behind a face, a supposed innocent face, a face where they're trying to make themselves look like they're innocent to get you to doubt what it is that you just seen. Like I've been in certain situations, my dear Capricorns, where I may have liked somebody, and in the same time, the person is all hugged up with that person and extra hugged up and just very hugged up and lovey-dovey. And I'm like, all the chicks in the world, you've got some tendencies that you ain't Because it's not about getting at said person. It's about getting at me. So what kind of guy are you where you're using a chick to get at another guy? If you into that lifestyle, just be into that lifestyle. I'm not discriminating on anybody for being into that lifestyle, but you sitting up there trying to make it seem like I ain't seeing the play, and then you weird. That's odd. That's weird. Jay-Z sounded funny when Jay-Z was beefing with Nas, when Jay-Z was like, oh yeah, I did this with such and such, and then I left such and such on the seat. You know how sus that sounded? Because it's like, you know what it says about a person where they gotta get at another person's whatever to get at the person. Why so you ain't really like her. Let me get off that. Let me get off that. But the point that I'm trying to make here is bring it up to them. And then what happens when you bring it up to them is they're not gonna expect it. But the Empress represents it's time for you Capricorns to legitimately get onto boss level status. It's time for you Capricorns to actually raise the level. And what I mean when I say raise it, I mean from the perspective of you Capricorns, be more yourselves. Stop being so afraid of rubbing people the wrong way. Learning how to be more direct with what you want and direct with your communication. Right? I can't get along with passive aggressive people, because one thing that I realized, Capricorn, is that they don't want direct smoke. They can only get at you indirectly and be disrespectful about it while trying to make it seem like they got an issue. But just like Drake and Kendrick, it always comes out. It always, where there's direct shots now, back and forth with one another, because it was something that was brewing that the two of them was trying to tell each other to communicate, to chill off, and both sides don't want to back down. So eventually it always comes out, just like Drake and Kendrick. And we know who won that battle. Kendrick did. If you say Drake did, you're basically saying that you're delusional. You're either saying that you're delusional or somehow you're employed for Drake somehow, or with him. Facts. Because the crowd decides who won, and the majority of the crowd said that Kendrick won. End of story. And so the thing is that the Three of Swords now represents when you start, now that you Capricorns are becoming like this, the Empress, when you start being able to actually address people the way that they need to be, the Three of Swords, they're not going to be able to actually deal with you Capricorns anymore. Because if a person, specifically this ex, was throwing rocks and hiding their hands, which they were, they didn't expect you Capricorns to actually show them what type of time they were on. They expected you to keep your mouth shut and be overly tolerant of them and just keep like having them come back into your life. But the Three of Swords is you essentially you washed them up. You washed them. And what I mean when I say you washed them, I mean like you really let them have it. Not only did you bring up what it is that you had a problem with, not only did you bring up what you Capricorns had a problem with, but you Capricorns also showed this person, this ex, how they've been moving. And this is bigger than the ex. This is about a milestone. This is about you Capricorns starting with the ex because you're tired of not communicating straightforwardly. But this also shows that you Capricorns also are going to start communicating this way, just period. Because you have the Queen of Wands and the Two of Wands. And if other people get offended by it, you don't really care because these are things that legitimately need to be said. You're not saying and doing stuff, like I said, to be extra, to be cruel, to be disrespectful. It's not only is it not about that, It's not about that. It's about actually getting to the nitty gritty. Like I said, it's about applying pressure. What do I say about applying pressure? I said that at some point, if you're trying to date, but this goes with anything. If you're trying to date friends, family members, job, whatever it is, when you feel like there's too much funny business, what is the best remedy for that? The best remedy when you think that there's too much funny business is to legitimately bring it up high key. Is this happening? What's going on? What's happening? Am I going to do this? What's happening? Are we dating? What's going on? Da, 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 da. And then what that does is that stops the hidden hand. That stops the agendas and the throwing rocks and hiding hands and the subtext and all of that stuff. Now the person has to answer it high key. Oh, okay, no, okay, cool, whatever. Okay, you know, this is what my job is. Okay, XYZ. You can actually get that out. You know, you can actually get that out. That's why I love it personally. Other people may think I'm weird. I don't care. But that's why it is that I love it. When the people who I'm dating, the ones who I'm dating, thinks that I'm cheating on them. I love it. And the reason why I love it is because so that they can bring it up to me so that I can show them that I'm not cheating or I'm not living foul. That way, I look at that like a blessing, because I look at it like that's a bump in the road that I can address whenever it is that when we're finally ready to address that and finally put that to sleep once and for all, so I ain't got to hear about that in the future. And then you have the Queen of Cups and the Fool card. So I welcome that type of scrutiny, honestly, because now it's like, okay, I can go ahead and address it so I can finally, you know what I mean? So that you can trust me a little bit more, so I can finally actually, we can finally get closer. I can finally actually be able to move freely without you constantly being on my back about if I'm cheating, because I'm not. But anyway, the Queen of Cups and the Fool card represents, look at how both of them are giving a cup, but they're both you, in the sense that two things. You're gonna speak your mind more, and not only are you Capricorn's gonna speak your mind, not just with this X, that you are going to get results by, because this X is not gonna be able to address this. But also, this speaks to how you Capricorns are going to do this with everybody. And if they can't deal with it, if they get their feelings hurt, then their feelings are hurt. It is what it is, you know? And truth be told, if you ask me, more people's feelings needs to be hurt. I have people who, you know what I'm saying, will say some things to me or whatnot, and guess what I gotta do? I gotta take that. I'm like, okay. They'll ask me, and then I gotta address it. Oh, okay, well, you know, this is what it is, and this is what X. But I don't particularly find that to be overly offensive. I just look at it like, well, I say stuff to people straightforwardly all the time. I gotta be able to accept it, right? And not only that too, but I also admire it because it's straightforward. Like, oh, okay, cool. You know, let's go ahead and address it, so I don't have to keep addressing it. You know, but what will have me walk away from someone, and why you should walk away from someone, right? An indication of when it's time for you to walk away is if it's a reoccurring problem. A reoccurring problem. For instance, right? Like I said, the cheating thing. If you constantly bring up you cheating, listen, you better chill out before I leave you. We've already addressed this. How many times? Knock that off. I will leave you. Knock it off. Knock that off. Hey, get rid of that noise. I ain't trying to hear that. You know, save that crying for your parents. Hey. But see, that's too invasive. It forces people to actually grow up. It forces people to actually stand on business more. Let's clarify the Fool card. The Judgment, Ace of Swords, the Hermit, Yeah, the Six of Swords and the Ace of Cups. You're going to be a lot more straightforward from now on, not just with this person, but you're realizing that this gives you results. This actually gets your communication across in a way that you Capricorns want to come across as being a lot more direct. And the situation with that is the Hermit, the Six of Swords, right, and the Ace of Cups is about. And once again, if that requires you Capricorns to be by yourself, I'm seeing how you Capricorns don't mind being by yourselves, because maybe you're realizing that maybe people aren't real enough in the first place to just state what's on their mind. They constantly have to tread lightly and walk on eggshells because other people, they're feeling, because they're too emotional and they're sensitive, while those sensitive people, you ever notice that the most sensitive people in the world are often the most disrespectful and cruel and harsh? Like, it's not even about being stern. It's not even about being strong. It's not even about setting a good example. It's about trying to crush the other person's spirit. But then they're super sensitive. But then everybody got to watch how they refer to them, because they may bust out a little cry in a corner. Nobody cares about that. At least I don't. And you Capricorns are learning not to care too. And you shouldn't. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to over 100K. We had 17,400 subscribers already, on the way to 17,500. Y'all are absolutely incredible. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever I drop my videos. Listen, if you want to come through and get a personal reading from me so I can keep the channel going, or if you would like to contact me for my cybersecurity services, the link to that is in the comment section below, called the Linktree link, or you can always just send me an email, Kareemspirit. All right, my love. Kareemspiritworks@yahoo.com. Peace. Have a good one.